Welcome, everybody. We are back again here on the Core Talk, where we talk about everything TCG related. Today, we have
Toph of the Core Knights.
Detective of the Core Knights main fight team.
And Isaac, product and development lead for the BattleCore.
and I'm Mustang Berserker, the captain of the Core Knights and the lead of BattleCore. Today, we are here to talk about the playstyle of white. We went over purple, we went over red. Don't think we went over yellow.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
That's a future one.
So today we're here to talk about the fan favorite white, the defensive play style of white. So to give you a nice little breakdown of white, white has always been a defensive style color. The units BP are typically decent. I won't say they're large. Red is always the color that has the largest BP thresholds, whether they're naturally or in gaining it via ability. White has also been a color that has very strong protection. The protection comes in multi different ways, such as armor and its armor variants, which hopefully may be coming along the way in Battle Spirit Saga, in the future. We also have different type of immunity skills that are a little bit different from armor. These immunity skills, such as Ice Biter, who's a promo who just got released just recently,
That is the most annoying promo in the freaking world.
which within his skills allows him to have protection from destruction, core removal, and also protects your nexus. White also has abilities that allow them to refresh themselves either once or multiple times during a battle. And majority of the time, these things are on defense. White also has the popular skill that probably is really only known for themselves, the ability to bounce. And these can be used to bounce certain thresholds as 2000 DP, 3000 DP, certain cost thresholds such as 3s, 4s, 5s, and sometimes, there is no, particular cost for it to bounce anything. It's just if it's on the board,
Dream Bomb.
like Dream Bomb
Or Harrier.
Well,
so
it does still have one stipulation.
Right,
it can't bounce a Nova.
yeah,
Yeah.
it
And
can't
it will
bounce.
bounce more stuff soon once everybody eventually gets
Yep.
What's it called? Ascend?
Mhm.
I always get Ascend and Awaken
Yep.
really mixed up.
So having a defense playstyle in white sometimes will force the player to play at a slower pace, and it's basically based on its nature. With this comes with the player either adapting other playstyles within themselves to be a little bit more aggressive to speed up the game, or adding in different colors such as purple or red to increase the tempo of the game so they can either end it faster if there's a time limit, or end it faster due to a white versus white variant. The longer the game goes versus a white player, the tougher it's going to get eventually. Their defense piles up, their board piles up with nexuses, and now they have a giant board with defenses. And within the current Battle Spirit Saga meta, you have Elk and you have Enterprise. And as long as these two are stationed on the board with a Fulla, it's almost unstoppable. All they have to do is sit there, accrue more cards on the board, and every time your turn ends and you did not take a life, you lose a life.
And now they have Axe Biter.
And now they're going to have access to Ice Biter. So,
Axe. not
X.
Ice.
I said ice.
He's been doing this all day.
So, but yeah. So far, that is the playstyle of white. Anybody have any questions or anything on that? Anybody want to bust my chops since
you're the white player.
because
What would incentivize a player?
All I can say
to
is
play?
that promo is going to be splashed in everything.
Okay, that's
and it's
valid.
going to be so
So,
annoying.
the promo Axe Biter will be changing. So at first, when the pre-release of Battle Spirit Saga was out, of course we had a couple of tournaments prior. Basically just people to practice to see what is the meta before going to the release. Purple was dominant. You guys were the boogeyman. And of course, everyone was kind of like, on white, but you guys was raffle stomping on white. And I want to say is because no one fully accessed or fully understood what Fuller impact was. And now that they did, now you have a Fuller, an Enterprise, and an Elk and other fillers. But now you end up having Axe Biter into the mix. I think it's not only going to change the meta for white, making them a little bit more aggressive, because now I think just that one unit alone is going to end up bringing out Dual Gun, because now their nexuses are even more protected. And just having one nexus on the white player side, and 9 times out of 10, the opponent's going to have one nexus, that's 2 constant swings that's unblockable. But not only that, if you even try to destroy Dual Gun, he'll stay alive just by paying a core from anywhere else on the board. And then mix that with Fuller, you basically have like an aggressive Enterprise Elk combination going on. So, and then you're looking at White has good cards. Like currently there's no restrictions such as archetypes or anything like that. You can kind of just play good white deck playstyle. But the cards in white can be flexed so well in other decks, such as Dream Bomb can go really well in the T-Rex deck, because the low cost allows you to play cards cheaper and have more cores left into your reserve, so you can activate Dream Bomb's full skill. And then we all know, Absolute Ice Shield it's a staple in everyone's deck. So, 2 good cards so far.
As evidenced by the market price being over $40 for a regular one.
And there are a lot of white cards that can be splashed in decks, but I think Fulla is one of the cards that can be splashed in all decks except for red.
Yep.
And I have a particular reason that they don't splash well with red.
Why's that?
If you put them in Pterosaurs, Rex is not going to get their level 3 skill because you can only have Pterosaurs and Emperor Beasts on the field. And if you play it with Nova, Nova's going to sacrifice that soul core, so it's only Fulla that's not taking core losses.
This is all things I'm thinking about as well. I would say it's much easier. I feel like it's more counterproductive to put it in a Nova deck than to put it in a T-Rex deck. And here's why. Because you're completely right about the soul core. Longevity, a lot of things that require soul cores in Nova just turn off. And the last thing you want in your deck is that dead cards. Versus the T-Rex. While the T-Rex, yes, it will turn off, you can always turn it back on just by putting the respective amount of cores on it. Because you can always compensate, okay, I have Fulla, but to protect my dinos anyway, which is usually very weak to purple, which is the whole reason why people put Fulla in their dino decks.
I don't even think that. Do you know how many cores it takes to?
I think it was 5.
Is it 5? Because nobody really pays attention to actually how many cores you actually need to do to make it level 3, because they normally just put 1 on it.
That's true. And I think the reason why, because me and Corey saw some deck lists that had actually Fulla in dino decks. I think that was the first one I saw that had Fulla in the dino deck. That was the first one I saw actually using Fulla that was splashable.
And I saw it was like such a mistake. I was like, this is a bad plan.
It's only out of compensation for purple, because at that time purple was running rampant, and I think out of any deck, dinos was suffering the most from purple.
Which is funny, because now white's going to be the one running rampant, which means that a lot of people are going to be either playing white or building decks to counter white, which weirdly enough will end up being yellow, because Luster just wipe your board every single time with yellow.
And that's the reason why I love Battle Spirits is because the meta can change very quickly, and it can change at any moment. It can just be a promo release. It can just be a meta shift based on colors. Anything can happen, because white was dominating first and white adapted. And I think that is one of the best things about the color white, is that the color adapts to the meta. Whether it is via the protection or people are being a little bit more aggressive, the deck changes to being a more defensive bouncing type playstyle. So, yeah, I definitely agree that Fulla is definitely going to be the meta card. And coming along with that one, I think Ice Axe Biter is definitely going to be the next one because it's going to be a very impactful card to the deck.
But he's going to be probably one of the hardest ones to pull because you can only pull him in the one promo pack. You can't even pull him in the winners pack.
Right.
So you have a 1 out of 8 chance to pull him in the promo packs. So
yeah, that's definitely true.
He's going to end up being whether your teammates can get as many participation promo packs as possible, or you have money.
Yep.
Because I'm betting right now he's gonna be there was a promo Pulsemon in Digimon. His skill was good, but it wasn't $25 good.
Yeah.
But he was still $25. So Axe, I think, is going to end up being like a $30 promo card right from the jump.
Yep. So with Axe Biter set to the side, now we're looking at, just currently, and of course people are going to get access to Axe Biter starting this week. But if I just set that aside currently, because the impact of that card, I don't know totally what's going to end up happening, because even though White has access to Axe Biter, low costing playstyle decks such as Yellow and Purple in some cases based on how you build it, and the T-Rex deck is going to end up utilizing Axe Biter for defensive purposes because it's like almost a guaranteed block, and also just to keep it out there for other means such as cost reduction for Ice Shield and Dream Bomb, and maybe Nexus is dependent based on how they build it. But currently, the ways of fighting against different colors with White sometimes vary, but currently in the meta is somewhat the same based on the packages that White has. Because if Enterprise protects itself the moment it comes out, the very next turn people end up leveling it up to its maximum level 3, and giving its entire board immunity. It gives it 3 types of armors: red, purple, yellow. No, red, white, purple, and white. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. And then mix that with Fulla, putting the Soul Core on Elk. Cores can't be ripped. Mm-hmm. And then when you're looking at Elk's skill, when it blocks, it just can't be destroyed. It can't be destroyed by battle and destroyed by effects. It's like a meat shield, a perfect meat shield. And then at the end of your opponent's turn, they lose a core from their life if no damage is dealt. And then mixed with that one ruling that we got confirmation with Absolute Ice Shield, which we still think is kind of crazy.
Yeah, nuts.
If you activate Absolute Ice Shield and you lose a life, activate Absolute Ice Shield, put the life back in the attack step of your opponent, they still lose a life. That right there is the most famous combination right now. With those 3 cards on the board, you maybe need... Actually, I think that's a lockout. Because you can't move cores, you can't even destroy anything, and you can't kill it. I think that's a lockout.
I mean, there's a trade-off. Yes, Axe is really good, but you're not going to be playing it early. You're going to be playing mid to late.
Oh, well, I'm not even saying anything about Axe. I'm talking about those 3 cards.
The 3 cards in order to be on the board.
Enterprise, Fulla, Elk.
Oh yeah, they're really tough to get rid of. The only card that I can think that is good is Maduke, and that's because you swing with Maduke. The core goes to the void, which means you have to have a core in the reserve in order to activate the Ice Shield properly. And if you block with Elk survives, Maduke dies, Maduke restands.
Yep.
And starts the process all over again. If you block with Enterprise, again, same thing, which means they would have to block with Fulla, which is the worst possible decision you could ever make.
Yep. So probably the best strategy is to block with something small and just have it, die and whatnot. Yeah. But, assess the situation accordingly to, your play style. But fighting other colors besides that combination, because me, myself, I don't use the whole Elk combination and Fulla. Like, I use the cards themselves, but they're at lower quantities. It's not my play style. I like being a little bit aggressive when I play my White. I don't like to go long, drawn-out games, especially if I know my counterparts are out there.
And yellow is still your main weakness.
Yep.
Two back-to-back exhaust nexuses, your Elk's gone because you normally have it at the 6K. Mm-hmm. And
so knowing that White is now shifting the meta away from Purple, because Purple was the dominant ones before recently. I still think purple's going to end up coming back, and I think the card that people are going to use is Maduke because it helps get around the Maduke and using the level 2 skill
Blood Curse.
of the Nexus.
You're talking about Netherland Depths.
Netherland Depths.
But that doesn't help against Elk because Elk stops itself from being destroyed when it blocks.
Yep, but it helps against other things. Because unless they have suppression, Elk's only blocking once. So you can end up checking out things like Pegasian or Enterprise, which is probably the thing that's probably keeping you at bay from really ripping through the field.
Well, I can rip through the field as long as they don't have Fuller on the field. If they have Fuller on the field, it's kind of hard to deal with because they always put it on the Enterprise, which then I can't do my targeting.
What's the exact effect of Netherland Depths at level 2?
Level 2, its effect is it takes 3 cores to put it on there, and you can put as many cores on. When it's basically the effect of Curse. When your opponent blocks, at the end of battle, you can trash 1 core from Netherland Depths and destroy the blocking creature. It is not a selecting effect, so it gets around armor. Unfortunately, there are the 2 cards, Elk and now Axe, that stop it from being destroyed at all.
Yep.
So you wouldn't activate it during that time, but against Enterprise, 100%, you would do that.
Now, there are some aggressive cards you guys can play if you want to be a little bit more aggressive and don't want to play the Enterprise, Elk, and Full is going to be there regardless, and Enterprise and Elk combinations. You do have Harrier, T-Rex Harrier, and you also have Dual Gun. Both of these cards are, in my eyes anyways, are more of the aggressive side for white. Harrier's skill, once he ascends, allows you to force one of your opponent's spirits to attack during their attack step. And knowing in battle spirits, you can't skip phases. His second skill is when he attacks, he gets to bounce 1 unit or 1 spirit that does not have ascend. And that right there can be very detrimental early game, not mid. I wouldn't suggest putting Harry out there mid if you don't have like the right setup, and late game. Dual gun skill is, to me, I think out of all of the X rares, is probably the best skill. It's just that he doesn't have enough foundation and support to really bring him out. But with the addition of Axe Spider, I think it's actually going to happen. So with his level 1 skill, or his first skill, as long as he has a Soul Core on him and doing the attack step, when he attacks and you pay that Soul Core, please keep in mind to have another Soul Core on him at the very least. You pay that 1 Soul Core on him and he only has that, you activate a skill, but he also dies. Keep that in mind. I did that in a practice match once before.
There's one problem with Dual Gun though. Dual Gun is a good finisher, but when you pay that Soul Core, it's now open season for purple. So you got to be careful with Dual Gun.
Definitely. So make sure you definitely keep that in mind. But Dual Gun's second skill, which is to me the best skill based on how you built your deck. So keep that in mind of this one line, how you built the deck and how you go about using your Soul Cores. His secondary skill is if he were to be destroyed by any means, by skill rather, I said by any means, by skill or abilities, you pay 1 core from anywhere on the board, he stays on the board and refreshes himself, allowing him to be a defense target, for him to be defensive again, and for you to activate cards such as suppression again. Well, no, I think you already activate suppression if you already activated the skill before. But, it allows him to reblock again. But that allows you to stage off one of the most annoying cards that I do not like, Deadly Balance.
Yep.
So
yeah, I made that mistake once against you. I won't make that mistake again.
Yep. I love that. They'd be like, Deadly Balance. I'd be like, yeah. Restand. Got another one?
It is.
Again, the trade-off is that suppression won't be useful because you paid the Soul Core to activate it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unless you've got Elephant on the field where you get the nice little refresh at the end of your turn.
Oh, and that goes into the third one, which my boy Isaac right here, I think this is the talked about white stuff that he likes. It's the Elephant package.
It's the Elephant package, y'all. It's so annoying, but it's so splashable. So check this out, right? You got this Nexus, right? That just kind of sits there for the cost of 4. You slap the thing on the board. Boom. All right, the next mech beast that you summon gets its cost reduced by 3. Reduced by 3 is
Yep.
okay? Reduced by 3. So the mammoth
Or the Metropolis counts as 3.
Metropolis counts as 3 symbols when you're gonna play a mech beast. So the cost reduction on this goddamn mammoth is 4. Okay, so it costs 8. So you can reduce it up to 4. So maybe it costs 4. So this thing alone counts as 1 symbol and then counts as additional 3. Right?
No, it only counts as
Oh,
3.
it only counts as 3. So only counts as 3.
So
You need another white card.
Yeah.
on the
another
board.
white card, or you just
pay the 5.
Pay 5 to
So
summon out.
it's really simple. So you just play another one. So let's say Axe Biter comes on the board, which is I think is going to be a really potent package because you're gonna play Axe Biter, then you're gonna play this Nexus, it protects the Nexus. So guaranteed this elephant's coming. All right?
Guaranteed.
this elephant is coming because you're gonna pay for it and then bring it
Not
out.
necessarily though.
How you
Because
would say that?
Dream Bomb is still a thing. You hit that in the burst, you bounce that Nexus back, and
Yeah, but if we don't have to swing yet.
Yeah,
It's like this is like early game. It's like
do I have to? No, it's like I could just put this thing.
It's just set up.
and,
Just set up.
with Axe, you might not have 3 cores on it, so they might have the capability of destroying it, and it might not have the protection on the Nexus at that point.
based on how they probably play it, they probably don't mind waiting.
Because if you play it out with Axe first, that's like 4. Put a core on it. Next turn, you pay 3 for the next one. You probably just put 2 more cores on there.
By
call it a day.
turn 3, you will end up having it.
Yes,
By turn 3 of that person, they'll end up having it.
that man.
First turn it's Axe Biter. Second turn is Metropolis. Third turn they will most likely have enough cores to put on Axe Biter. And at that point they just waited out.
And that's just assuming they're going second.
Yeah.
Because you'll have 5 cores. So you pay 4, put 1. And then you'll pay 3, put 1. You put 2 more cores on Axe Biter. So that's 3 cores right there.
Yeah, but if you keep Axe Biter at 1 that early, like yellow, they'll probably drop an Angelic Pressure.
They better.
immediately. or for me, Burning Force. I will pay 5
Yes.
to Burning Force that
You-
one card.
You will.
can guarantee I will do that.
You should. Because if you don't, guess what I'm going to do next to you on the third turn?
Right.
It's a free mammoth, and this mammoth is going to get me 3 cores, draw me 3 cards. So yeah, that's the package. So the package is so simple. It literally only consists of 2 cards right now, the Nexus and himself. You can add another white card in your deck if you want to splash it in just to help get the max reduction. But the Axe Biter is going to be the 3rd card.
Oh,
And
actually, they can
great.
you can only activate Burning Force because he has
Armor
armor to yellow.
You're right. So
That's why that thing's going to be an
You're
annoyance
right.
for me as a
Well,
yellow
there you go.
player.
Well, there you go.
Burning. Well, any of the red burning cards.
Yep. That
Yep.
means
You know
Andromeda.
what
That
that's
dragon?
called? It's called a trade-off. It's called a trade-off. That means you ain't doing nothing for your turn, and I get another turn to put something out there.
Yeah.
You Burning Force. You Burning Force my unit. I'm cool.
That's 5 cores on your end if you're not red.
Yeah, but he paid 4 cores to summon it, so.
Yeah.
That's still 1 more
But,
core to you.
but if you think about it this way, a lot of people will play like 4 cores, play Nexus, and then person going second will be like, all right, pay 5, Burning Force the Nexus. So you just gotta think about it that way.
The value of the Nexus, yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I got so many of these. That's 1 Nexus you're not touching on my side. So maybe I want to play Mothership next. Which is worse. Because Mothership, when it comes to him, if he's a mech, you level up a Mothership, you get 2 cores at the start of the refresh.
and
Yeah, but
that
you have to level it up, don't you?
yeah, but that also gives things like because of Axe Biter, just the shift or the playstyle of white might end up becoming a little bit more diverse. His introduction to the meta is going to bring out the mech decks.
Yes.
I think so too.
It's going to end up having. We're going to see some crazy dual gun and I'm gonna say a dual gun enterprise combination. That's what I think is going to end up happening.
Defense early and then finish them all with dual gun. That Axe Biter alone has brought out so many potential combos and mix in. The one thing about white that's just incredibly great, because they're not focused, they're splashable, and because they're splashable, any deck can use it. So basically now I'm thinking the meta might shift to literally color plus white. Like
Right.
we already
I
kind of
still think they're going to be teching in freaking Elephant and Elk in those decks regardless.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes. You have enough room to put in those packages. But like I said, the main X rares is going to end up being Enterprise and a dual gun, and with the support of that Elephant, they got enough. They have enough to do like everything, and most of these mechs are very cheap, so you can get them out quicker. So that dual gun, when he activates his skill, you already have like a board full of these things, and if you don't have a absolute ice shield or something to just go like lower the numbers, you're in trouble.
there was already a build prior to even his arrival called, the mech beatdown. I remember we talked about it earlier with Volcanic Canyon, where you just keep drawing all these mechs, cheap mechs, and you just put Volcanic Canyons down because it counts as a target for dual gun. You keep drawing, you draw your cheap stuff, you just go to town. It's already a thing. And now Axby just gonna look at it like, I'm just gonna make it better. Now you don't have to use Volcanic Canyons. You can just use any white Nexus now. Yeah, mothership. It's ridiculous.
And like I said, that is the best part about white is, like you said, since it's not, totally, majority of the time it's not totally focused on an archetype or needing the archetypes in order to be functional, they can be splashed in any color. Like if you want multi-swings inside your T-Rex deck because the way you built it allows them to survive a little bit longer because you have power in it. You have access to regain. You already have access cores in your reserve. You have cards like regain. Like I said, you have Dream Bomb. You have things like Steely Forest. That right there has been a new introduction in my build because it just allows me to keep my Nexus alive as long as I have a burst. And what's one thing white has a lot of, and they're really good, burst cards. So there's a lot of different combinations and deck builds you can make within white, and you can add to other colors to, mix up your playstyles and diversities. So with that being said, stay flexible with how you build your decks and understand that the one thing that white does really well, if I have to be very general with it, is that white adapts really well to the meta shift. So keep that in mind. Don't be stuck on one build. Just know that white can adapt based on what the meta is. We have a lot of different skills that handle a lot of different situations. It doesn't mean we are the best deck. There are some decks that will end up coming back and just, being, way better, such as Tom was just mentioning earlier about Maduke. If the meta starts shifting toward Maduke, we don't have a lot of defenses to protect us from that, but we do end up having enough to stall the deck out just a tad bit. But we will see. It all based on how people build it.
Well, the defense against Maduke is just having low level units that you can sacrifice when Maduke attacks.
Yeah, but who knows? Maduke players might end up adding in cards that pop smaller things. We don't know. The meta shifts so quickly and so rapidly based on
with just releases. One set. With just one set.
Yep. But that's, like I said, that's the beautiful thing about Battle Spirits. It happened both in Battle Spirits and Battle Spirit Saga. The meta changes within the season or set itself. And it's all based on, the best decks at the moment and what people build to counter those decks. So try your best to be original. Battle Spirit Saga is a game for us. We don't have to worry about looking at, meta or decks across seas and then having that affect our meta. So take advantage of the life that Saga has given everyone here. We create the meta, and the meta is created by us. So with that being said, everyone, thank you so much for sticking around the podcast, and we will see you on the next one. Who's going to say it this time?
I guess I'll take a shot at it. I'll probably still mess it up. Like Battle Spirit says, let the cores decide your fate, and what BattleCore likes to say, let the players decide your champions.
That's enough.
Close enough? All right.
All right. We will see you guys.
Better than me.
We need to have a marker board of the actual things to say.
Thanks.
So statement.
We will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for stopping by. Peace.